I kind of pride myself in stepping back, seeing the big picture, kind of figuring out what's going on. Right now it's just kind of a mess. It's also a function of how these, bars join together. So I always talk about, like, in the week prior, you had this big reversal and it was a relatively large range. And then, starting the week, you just open lower. And I always say, if I want to short something, I want to short into strength. I want this thing to open higher and then go that way. I'm always a little, circumspect when something opens lower, now starts going the other way, now you're going to get back into the bar this way. And so even, though, I felt this is a resistance area, I felt this is a top, it's like when this opens lower, I just feel like the energy is going to go back that way. And even if it does that mean that it's sustainable and not going to go back? So you're constantly assessing and reassessing and what have you. But, I always get a little bit, I always feel like, you got to get back into the bar. And certainly if we start going through, last week's unchanged level, which we're pretty close to, now, the momentum starts going the other way. Now you got a key reversal this way. You had a key reversal that way. Now you got a key reversal this way. And, it's a punching bag. And so, again, the way to handle this is just to drill something down to its, minimalist core, if you will, and find some risk reward relationship. But, it's like, and this is what I was saying, the other day. It's like, yes, I think Etsy's going lower, but I wouldn't short it into the lows. And that's the conundrum, is that this does not look like it's an uptrend. But I was saying the other day, when you had this reversal, I wouldn't short that. If you haven't shorted it up there and taken this ride down, you don't want to short it right into this little pocket of, support. Now, it could give up the ghost and die today. It's still a downtrend, and I would look for some kind of uptrend. I hope this thing goes higher, and then I can short into that energy. But that's kind of the conundrum, where things are, they look like they're going down, but it's not really a good area to get in. Like Coin made a new low the other day, and then, it's right at a support area. And then yesterday we're higher. So, you have this reversal, and, you don't want to really get short in the hole down here. And so there's just all this kind of grind that's going on here. And, so it's very challenging. So to my mind, I'm just, trading less and less. I wait for some, the discipline is waiting for something where you feel like the environment and the trend and the timing and everything is such that it's going to carry you a little way. And right now I get the feeling that, if I'm long overnight, tomorrow could open up the opposite of where it was the day before. And then you're in a day trading kind of mentality, and then you're over trading, and it invites all kinds of things. And eventually you burn yourself out, you burn your capital out, and 3 weeks or 2 months down the road, when you see a fertile environment, you burned yourself out and you burned your capital out. And so, it's very difficult for me day in and day out to kind of, justify my presence here. But this is a very difficult environment. It's not to say there's not things to do. Again, it all comes down to, risk and reward. I was looking at, I'm just searching through more and more trades. So this is ILMN. It's in a nice downtrend. Clearly in a downtrend. And then we have this, top here. And then you have this little inside bar. To me, these coils, represent, a coiling or storing of energy, and they typically come out one way or another. Again, I just feel like this environment is that, if I made a few bucks, I'm going to hop out. I just feel like it's such a squirrely environment. But, this looks like it's something, and I would actually love to see this thing actually go higher today, and short into strength and then go, that way. But, you probably could put a little sell stop under here, take a very small risk and see how this feels. There is support right here at about 330. So you probably could get, a good $5 on your trade if, that's what you're into. But so I'm looking at that. I don't know. There were a whole bunch of, things like Zoom, reversed. I've always felt like Zoom is kind of oversold to the downside. It's going to be very hard, for this to make another push lower. I mean, it's had such an extraordinary high velocity one-way, freight train. I mean, that, thing from 350 to $90 has been pretty much straight down. So now, what? You're going to make another leg like this? I would say, it's like I want to see the energy release so then it can go back and make that leg. And so, Zoom, and I like the fact this is a weekly chart. So you made a new low in the week and now you went through the previous week's, unchanged level. So you've kind of trapped. This is like a trap in here. And so, now you got this little area where, you got a reversal there, you got a reversal and a trap here, a little double bottom area. And, can this thing go back to 160? It could. So this is something that, got my attention yesterday. It reversed. Now, I don't know, you don't know if it's real. Every day you see one thing, it reversed the day before and then it reversed today. You still have, this guy here that looks pretty formidable to get through. So I don't know if this will extend. But, just something to look at. If we kind of go down $3, $4, $5 today, I might just buy into that, against that low. But I don't know. I feel like I'm best served if I, stay on the sidelines right now.
So what about things like DoorDash? So I was looking at that, and is that also just in the middle?
Well, it's like, again, I was very skeptical of how these bars ended last week. You had a weekly low. So here again is this concept of how these bars stack up. Where you have what looks like a reversal back in the trend here, makes a new high, close on the low of the week. You have a nice reversal. It's a pretty large range. It went from 130 all the way down to 110. It's like 20% of the stock price. And so, you have that, big bar. And then again, this is what I always say is like, if it opens, so it opened under yet last week's low. And I'm always skeptical of that. It opens, goes lower, then it goes back through unchanged. Now you're chasing it. And now it's a trap. And so this could be one of those things where, it's a bear trap where it broke all of the, pre-IPO, the IPO levels, made a new low. This is a serious kind of reversal here. I learned to take these, when you have a reversal like that, they point, so you got to take that seriously. You can't short against something like that. So I don't know if this sustains to the other way or what have you. So now, it's my experience. Once you kind of go this and you come through unchanged, you usually, the energy keeps going. But this is, again, the trap where, if you see a key reversal and, I send you one of my signals and close on the low, and then it opens, lower. Yeah, I don't like chasing those. They could open lower to go lower. And then if they start coming back to unchanged, now you're fighting that energy. So, now this is what Dash is doing. Does it, put on a nice reversal for the week? And now we've got two reversals and now we've got something like this. I don't know. Could happen. it could happen. Let me see what it looks like on a daily. So yeah, I mean, this double bottom, see, I don't know. Here's where the confusion comes in. And this is like kind of what it's like, which pattern do you trust? And typically it's this big pattern. Usually, this is still a trustworthy pattern. Yes, we see something here and it looks real. But to me, this is probably the guy to trust. I don't know that this sustains. So, but that's the conundrum. We've got a bottom, in the immediate thing. If I just put up a chart and we just saw this looks like a very nice double bottom, inverted head and shoulders. That's why, to me, the more time you have, the better. So, I look at all of these guys over here, right there, there, and there. And they just tell me you're not getting above there. So I just feel like it's a trap in here. And so this is the thing is, every day it's, back and forth. And if you look at, really it's been everywhere and nowhere. This is really kind of a metaphor for the last, 2 weeks. I mean, this is just, it's been a fun ride, but it's the same place it was 2 weeks ago. So this is why I'm kind of a little bit, remiss about saying get on board one thing or another.
So Payman was asking about Tesla. So he says it's down a little bit. Is it worth buying some calls?
So it's probably a bit of an arbitrage. I mean, they're both, so you got Twitter and you got Tesla, there's a correlation there, with the owner and maybe his time. And so Tesla is coming down. It is, opening around, I think around 1,000 or so. So I don't know. To me, Tesla's in a very tricky area. To me, there's still a whole bunch of distribution patterns here. So to me, I don't know, man. I get the feeling this is more of a short than a buy, but I can't say with any kind of conviction. So this is also where you kind of, close on the low of a huge range thing and you open seriously low. I always know, that's not a good thing to try and, it looks like you came off the momentum, everything's that way. It opens the next week and you just want to join, the momentum, and it opens right on the low and then it starts going up for the whole week. So, now we're right at the previous week's unchanged. And, typically once you start going the other way, you typically keep going the other way. So is this going to continue or not? Is this reversal to be respected? Is this a top area? These are, questions that, drive you crazy. And I think the only way to handle it is to, have this discipline and stay on the sidelines and let certain time go by where the market will tell you. So this is a monthly chart. We're not even we're basically close to just the middle of the month. So we've got, several weeks until this thing closes. Either we see more range. And so where this thing closes is, very important, because you've got this area where, you have a top. And if by the end of the month, we look like this, I don't know, it'll start looking pretty toppy to me. But, we're 2 weeks away from that. So a little early to tell. We're just, in this giant uptrend, and, who knows? Maybe we've got, all of this to go before it goes that way or that way. So, and that's months. So too early.
So you can see, 45 is 1.3 million.
$1.3 million short.
So popped out a profit for 118,000 there.
So you can see how this is going crazy now. You can see how the market just going nuts.
I bet like $1.6 million on this position. I'm showing right now $23,000 gain.